I want us to talk about this thing. Conflict resolutions. When is enough enough? In any relationship, there's bound to be conflict. My friend, I want to challenge all of us by telling you this. Don't bark if you cannot bite. Some people have said it in a different way. Don't worry, he is all bark and no bite. Have you ever heard people saying they're going to do this, they're going to do this, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and they never do it? They are full of barking and barking and barking, and they cannot bite. They have no teeth. I get bored by such people. I hope you do. And I want to challenge you that you're not one of those people who bark, who say things that you're going to do, and you don't do it. Look back and think about the promises sometimes you've made and how you become energetic sometimes saying the things that you must accomplish. If you're not sure about something you're about to do, I'd rather you hold on to it so that when you bark, at least you'll be able to bite. We have a lot of promises, but we don't have promise keepers. So this phrase, don't bark if you can't bite, it's for those people who say one thing. They do not do anything about it. We have them. They are full of it, especially people who are full of talking about the past. They tell you who they were, what they were like a year ago, 2 years, or even back home, let's say in Kenya. They'll tell you, for me, this thing was nothing to me some years back. Why are you telling me? Why is this person telling you this? It has no relevance. They are barking, but they cannot bite the present. Some of the things people bark about, they are already stale. Yesterday is gone. You are there for a season. The other day we talked about a friend for a season. Maybe there are things in your life you could do. You could say it, you delivered it, and people believed in you. These are different times. Maybe you are from the rural. We have a saying back home that jogo wakule in the rural area cannot work in the city. There are things that can work in certain locations, but not everywhere. You don't bark everywhere you go because somebody will just hear noise and not pay attention to what you say. There are people who bark just to be relevant. They want to bark, but they bark to the wrong people. You see, as a teacher of anthropology, I'll tell you this. We have what we call microculture. A microculture is a small culture within a big culture. Like we have gender culture. There's a language that belongs to women. There are things that only women do, just as we have things that only men do. There are things that belong within such happen to Doesn't make any sense. Which decade? And even for them, there are things they would say and we cannot actually connect. So our barking will not bite. It will not make any sense to certain people. So you need to locate your start point. Know where you are. When you bark, can you bite? Where does it settle on? Because you could be frustrated. So please listen to those people who bark. And if you know that they cannot bite, if there is nothing they're going to do, leave them alone. Let me even stretch it further and tell you there are certain barks of people barking, and those who forget about barking, I'm talking about barking from a dog. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There are people actually who try to bark to you to scare you. They have no teeth to bite you. Yeah? I don't know whether you've ever seen an old dog that has no teeth. It tries to bark, but it cannot do anything to you. Some of us are scared by the barking, the noise we hear from the dogs, if you may. They instill fear in us. They tell us how insurmountable things are, how difficult things are in life. And you buy into their fear. They come and tell you how stupid you are, and then you believe you are stupid. There are those who insult, especially we used to hear this with the young people. Parents telling you or teachers telling you, you're useless. I hear that even among married people. And you tend to believe it. Can you take it as barking? And believe me when I tell you that as long as you do not allow these things to sink in your psyche, it's not going to bite. It's just barking. You have to distinguish what is important, what you need to hear, what you need to read, what you need to watch, because some of it is just barking. It has no bearing. So somebody tells you about how inadequate you are, how shortcoming you are, how useless you are, how you have low self-esteem, you have low self-worth. You need to assert yourself and reduce everything you hear as barking. That's just a barking. It ain't gonna bite me. In other words, it is not gonna have effect on me. If you tell me I'm stupid, it doesn't make me stupid. If you tell me I'm ugly, it doesn't make me ugly. You have to assert yourself. And even when you feel like you almost want to believe them, do like King David did. He said, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. That was a way of self-affirmation. Remember, when you think about David in the Old Testament, there was a time when the other brothers were being fronted like capable, potential leaders until the prophet said, no, there is still one more. And if you ever read the story of David, he was one of those boys. He was not one of the favorites. And yet he was picked. No wonder. He had the gut to say, you know what? You formed me and you know my every part of me. You knitted me in my mother's womb. And he says, I praise you because I am what? Fearfully and wonderfully made. That is somebody who is not ready to listen to the barking of people out there. So when someone tells you stuff that don't build you, say, you know what? That's just a barking. It doesn't bite. Learn to fly with eagles. It is said that, or somebody has once asked, how can I fly with eagles when I'm surrounded by turkeys? The good book tells us in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 33, bad company ruins morals. The people you surround with, you're going to hear they are barking and you're going to be like them. It's just like going through a smoke. Let's say there's a barbecue and people are doing some, barbecuing, and you go through that smell and then you just smell like the smoke. You need to know and identify the eagles and don't be among turkeys, because you're going to be like one of them. It has been said that elderly people decline when they enter into the care because no one and nothing stimulates them. Surround yourself with exciting, vibrant, and lively people, because when you do that, they will keep challenging you to aspire for better, to strive for something good, other than having people and you hear them talking. It is like old folks sharing ideas. Oh, I'm hurting here, I'm hurting there, I'm hurting there, I cannot walk. And you're hearing faintly messages, discouraging messages. Nothing will revamp you. Nothing can give you stimulation so that you can be able to look forward. So watch out at those folks who bark and cannot bite. In other words, they have no effect in your life. There's a saying in Texas that says, the smallest dog barks the loudest. The smallest dogs bark the loudest. We also have another phrase that great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. But small minds discuss people. These are the people who bark. And when you see people, when you gather, all they do is just talk about people. Yeah, leave them alone. You see, my friend, those who speak loudest, it's like they are trying to justify themselves. A confident man does not need to prove that he is confident. It is evident. It's like people who suffer from mediocre, they want to assert so that you know that they're educated. They go saying, my name is the doctor or professor so-and-so. And when you put those titles, people start looking at you and gauging you according to what you've already pronounced. You bark a lot, so you raise your bar. Let it be seen. You don't have to go shouting. It's going to be evident. Before Christians were called Christians, they were called the people of the way. In other words, they were people who lived in a certain way. When Paul, by then Saul, was on his way to Damascus, he went to persecute the people of that way because they lived in a particular way. They had certain morals. They had certain values. There are things that distinguished them from other people. They were peculiar. They were unique. They didn't have to bark. They didn't have to shout like the Pharisees who would start on top of the whatever they were and saying, I am holy, I give tithing, I observe my Sabbath, I do all this. Versus this Gentile who just kept saying, I'm a sinner. He humbled himself. And the good master would say, you know what? I prefer this young person, or this rather humble person, who finds himself humble enough to confess that he's a sinner, than this person who brag and shout the loudest, who bark, and they cannot bite. A rich woman doesn't need to convince anybody that she's rich. I didn't say that. Don't shoot me. It's somebody by the name of Mark Manson who said that. And I'm sure he says it can be seen. The fashion, the clothes, the makeup. You can tell. You don't have to go on top of the mountain to say, I'm rich. It's going to be evident. See the people who bark a lot. They have no meat in it. They have no teeth. In our holy language back home, Swahili, we have a saying that says this. Kizuri cha jitebeza, kibaya cha jiuza. That which is good, you don't even need to talk about it. But that which is bad, it must market itself. And wherever you see someone pushing you into something, telling you how good it is, leave them alone. I have a friend who went back to Kenya and she said, you know what? I'm going to work for you. I don't want any compensation. I just want to work for you. And let my job speak for itself. And sure enough, in the second week, the employer had even told her, place your salary. I'll pay you whatever figure you say, because it was evident. Instead of having those people who bark a lot, they can't bite, and all they say, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can cook, I can drive, I can actually drive this. And then you give them that opportunity. They goof, they mess. It's too much barking, and yet they cannot bite. How many of us have witnessed people who've been put in places of leadership? They say, if I were the one, if I was like Gigi, I had the position he has, if I was this driver, if I was the president, if I was this, and then sometimes they are given such opportunity. But they cannot bite. They have no teeth. So I dare challenge you. Before you talk and bark about things you can do, please, for heaven's sake, find out whether you have teeth. It is true even with relationship. People promise others heavens. I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to buy you this. I'm not going to be bad on you. I'm not going to do this. Why do you bark and yet you cannot bite? You are promising things that you know you don't have. Because in a matter of time, they'll catch up with you. They will know for sure the kind of a person you are made of. It's like this couple that went for counseling. And the wife said, he never tells me that he loves me anymore. And this guy said, well, I told her that I loved her, or I love her when I married her. And if I ever change my mind, she'll be the first to know. Really? That's what we say, man, don't we sometimes? Oh, yeah, I told you. Why are you doubting? If I ever change my mind, I'll let you know. Oh, so you can say that now because you have arrived. You got what you wanted. I don't matter anymore. You've used me. You become familiar with me. I'm not that person anymore. Where are the promises? Where was the all backing? How are you going to appreciate me every day? How are you going to make my life enjoyable? How are you going to love me? What went to the bark? What happened with the barking? It was just gas, empty word. I don't see it anymore. You know, sometimes, my friend, people can tell you stuff. They will tell you how they will walk with you to the end. They will even tell you, before anybody else leave or step out, I'll be the last with you. I will go down with you. Oh my goodness. When people want stuff, they can promise you heaven. You'd believe that this person loves you more than he or she loves himself. They bark, they cannot bite. You know, sometimes we get tested to see how true that is. Step back and look at your friends who have barked, or even look at yourself honestly, where you have barked and you've not bitten. Promise keepers, where are they? The good book tells us, if a man make a vow unto God, or swear an oath to bide his soul without board, he shall not break his word. Many times we find us breaking the very vows we make. In fact, the good book prohibits us to keep a vow that we cannot keep. Because God will surely require of thee, and you consider it as a sin. When we're in situations, we are quick to cry. Oh, and you cry and you think that the heavens will come down. We bark. We don't bite. I know you must have disappointed somebody, or somebody must have disappointed you because you barked, or that person barked, and there was no biting. In the days, the Nazarites, in the olden days, whenever they would make a vow to dedicate their lives to God, they would shave their heads clean to show the seriousness that we are not just saying it for the sake of it. We want to say it and we want to demonstrate it before people that we have made a promise, we have made a vow. And actually, in many cultures, if you see somebody shaving, okay, today people do it because they want to save money or they want to get rid of the gray hair coming, so they might as well cut it, or even for saving money sake. But culturally, if you found somebody having shaved their head, it was a statement. It's a new beginning. It's like, that is gone. I want something new to come forth. They say it openly. This is what I have vowed to do. So, my friend, don't bark if you cannot bite it. I'll give you a final example of a story, true story, of Samuel was very, very sick. And the pastor went to pray with him at his hospital bed. At that moment, when he was so vulnerable, he told the pastor, Pastor, I'm telling you where I am right now. If God saves me, if God heals me, He gets me out of this place. I know you know I'm blessed. I have wealth. I'm going to give half of all the wealth I have towards God's work. I vow, you can write it, you can tell the elders, you can preach it, you can tell the heavens. I will do that. And sure enough, anybody else who came, he would say how he has reached to a point to know that life without God is useless. And he has vowed. And he was a very well-to-do person. Fortunately, by God's grace, he was healed. Later on, months after, the pastor went to visit him. And he found him at his office and he said, oh, we are so grateful to God that you're well. Man, God has done great things to you. And the man said, oh yeah? Oh yeah, I'm so grateful. I just wanted to come and remind you, sir, that when you are at the hospital, you had promised that if you get well, you would give God half of your wealth. And as a man of God, I've just come to remind you, just in case you may have forgotten, because you made a vow before God in my presence. And the guy said, I promised that. The pastor said, yeah. Man, that shows how sick I was. If I promised that, I must have been very, very sick. Really? We have people who bark and say things that they'll never fulfill. Watch them. Avoid them. Don't be one of them. Don't bark if you cannot bite. Thank you. God bless. Take care.